at the early stage, finding these games that could, if not feed, but come very close to Walter Tevez' description, was not that challenging. So I even managed to find a game, professional game, where White won by sacrificing the queen, following the Walter Tevez line, the game that Beth Harmon won against Baltic. But with her climbing to the top of this chess ladder and playing stronger players and having more complicated games, so posed a new challenge. While I managed to find games to come very close to the description, like one game against Garry, for instance, or a game, both games against Borgov that she lost first two games, as you I'm sure remember. The final event in Moscow, that's what everybody expected. So just to the games to be highly professional, and we did not want to deviate from the book. Though Tevez, as if thinking to add challenge to us, had more details, and it just even more narrative, including the adjournments. By the way, sometimes you have to explain to people what's adjournment meant. It's the game could stop, could have a hard stop after 40. That was a traditional time control that we used until early 90s, and I played all my World Championship games against Anatoly Karpov with this time control, 2.5 hours for 40 moves. So we all have this time to complete these moves, and then the games were adjourned and resumed, and then we played. There were special days for Germans. We could play another long session with new time control, 1 hour for 16 moves, and a couple of times we had this game just being adjourned again. So it's not being finished in 88 moves, though it was very, very rare, of course. Also thanks to the series, now people recognize what is time in chess. I remember when I played Nigel Short, the World Championship match in London in 1993, and in the game one of the match, so at one point I missed a win. It was time trouble, so Nigel had very little time left on his clock. I had a bit more, so I was nearly winning, but I missed win, and then I almost was in trouble. So probably still could save the game, but very close. And Nigel, his flag fell. When I say flag fell, we still had clocks that were not digital. So that's and his flag fell, and he lost the game because he couldn't make all 40 moves during the this time control. Though we already shifted from 2.5 hours to 40 moves to a shorter time control, the public didn't understand what's happened. So he had a good position. Why the game was lost? So just time didn't have this very simple, meaning, because whether it's time at the board, so you make just moves and you just manage to organize some kind of attack, time on the clock, so it was a mess. Now, thanks to the series, thanks to the Queen's Gambit, people understand there was a clock, was a flag, so it's of course it was not digital, and you had to follow up, this is the rules, and make all the moves within the time frame that was designated for this tournament. And two of most important games in this Moscow tournament against former world champion Luchenko and the current world champion Vasily Borgov, they both were adjourned. Okay, Tevez wanted them to be adjourned. And how do you make this game, just adjourned, and also to keep this tension? Because, if game goes for 40 moves plus, then you still need an intrigue. You still need something left there, so just to make it fascinating. And also, don't forget, back to what Benny told her, that Soviets were good because they worked together, they analyzed the games. So she had to outperform them in the analysis, coming up with some great ideas. And I started with the Luchenko game, and again, I was not looking for professional games going over move 40. It's all about configuration. It's all about creating position that looked very similar to what Tevez had in mind. And I found a game played by two grandmasters, so Arshak Petrosian and Vladimir Akopyan. It's the game that looked promising to me, so I thought it would give me a chance to make it almost as was imagined by Walter Tevez. I have to say that selecting these games, it was very, very interesting challenge for me, because I had to feel so that the game offers the opportunity to be developed, because it's about developing of the game. This is not just the game that they played, yes, but now you have to reach the point and think, oh, maybe here you have something so unusual that naturally found with the help of the machine. So that could make this game sort of a real masterpiece, as presented in the book. And that was the position. And while Black played the natural move the rook here, so computer showed a very interesting continuation, just a sacrifice to push upon h5. G takes h5, so looks like a blunder, because it's there's a pin, and Black lost the pawn, though they just opened some files, and that's now the move king h8, h takes d6, the rook takes h4, and now the idea is obvious. So the Black opened the position, so the white king now is exposed. But it looks like after rook h1, white could avoid the worst. But all of a sudden there's a move rook h7. That's a machine-like move found by a computer. Now taking this rook just doesn't work, because after queen g7 check, white king has to move, and then Black rook takes white rook, and the attack is decisive. So it's the Black is defenseless, though they have extra pawns. But this bishop, look at this bishop, it stays somewhere, so it just doesn't participate at all. So that's why sometimes it's important to remember, material is important, but it's also important to understand that your pieces and pawns, they are just they're located in a key segments of the board. It's like on a military battlefield. You may have overwhelming advantage in numbers, but they all could be in wrong positions. So it's the same as here. So that's the extra material doesn't make any sense, because the black bishop dominates, and white bishop just it's standing there like a big pawn. Actually, the pawn probably could have more sense, because at least it could move forward. This bishop, is just is a silent witness of the execution of the white king. So after rook h7, so white plays rook g1. That's what Luchenko did. Rook h5, and now you see this black rook all of a sudden came from c7, being here in a passive position, to here, just creating a very now strong attacking potential. So now all black pieces are attacking. So king f1, now quiet move king g7. Yeah. Now, desperate attempt to bring the bishop back into the game, but too late. Rook attacks, queen goes here, check, and now bishop d4. So queen is attacked, and this white position collapses. And Luchenko, you remember, resigned. So I remember we had this game shown on one of the chess presentations online. There was Judith Polgar, and she loved it. So she was known as a very aggressive attacking player, and she loved this King's Indian positions, and she thought the combination, so with temper sacrifice, was quite impressive. Again, I said it's all credit to the computer, but I was also very pleased that I managed to find sort of the right game to give machine a chance to come up with a story that was complementary to Walter Tevis' ideas. So it's also brings us to another topic that we'll discuss later. It's about human-machine collaboration, because it's still up for us humans to guide the machine and to sort of give computer an opportunity to demonstrate its strengths. It's to use its brute force and the power of calculation to help us creating an impeccable game.